listening to the Marketing and Yoga Pants podcast, a podcast in sisterhood for female entrepreneurs that serves up savvy, actionable marketing advice and interviews with creative business owners who are in the trenches, building their businesses as we speak. The Marketing and Yoga Pants community is for you, the girl on her couch, in her yoga pants, top knot tight, hunched over her MacBook, trying her hardest to get the word out about her business. So in the name of supporting each other while supporting ourselves, bringing community, sound marketing advice, coffee, chocolate, and wine together for you, yoga pants wearing business owner, in a world where followers mean nothing, but paying customers mean the world, join us on this week's podcast episode and in our private Facebook group where you'll meet your soul sisters and build your business in yoga pants. Welcome back to another episode of the Marketing and Yoga Pants podcast. I'm Brit and I'm here today with Sensi Graves, owner and designer of Sensi Graves Bikinis. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sensi.
Thank you, Brit. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh, ditto. Okay, so Sensi was introduced to me by a mutual friend, Sarah Christensen. You guys know her, right? Founder of Kick-Ass Masterminds. And I'm so pumped to get to chat with Sensi today, get some insight into her business, her industry, her marketing strategy, and what makes it all tick. So Sensi, are you ready to jump in?
I'm ready, Brit.
All right, let's do this. So first of all, tell us, how do you earn your living?
That's a great question because as I was thinking about this last week, I realized that I have a number of income streams. I think that's appropriate to sole founders and business owners when you're first getting off the ground. People are really multi-hyphenate these days, and I am as well. And so when I was listing this out, I primarily make my living off of selling badass bikinis through our wholesale accounts and then also through my website, sensigravesbikinis.com. I'm also a professional kiteboarder, and therefore I make my money through my kite sponsors attending competitions, through contest winnings, and then also I write and produce content for various kite magazines. I also run women's kiteboarding camps with my best friend and pro kiteboarder as well, Colleen Carroll. And then I do sports modeling. So I have a variety of income streams, but all kind of based around this getting women outdoors and kiteboarding.
So basically what you're saying is you are my coolest new best friend. No. That is so cool. I can't wait to dig in and just ask all the questions. Okay, so that sounds amazing. I would love for you to, before we get into all the nitty-gritty of all the stuff that you just said, can you rewind and tell us the story of how you came to do this with your life? How did this all start?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I actually started kiteboarding relatively late in life. Now, kiteboarding is a pretty young sport. It really launched in the late 90s. And I started kiteboarding when I was 18 years old. And I actually was in college at the time. And my dad had gone out to North Carolina, which is a big mecca for kiteboarding, and had learned to kite in 2006. The next summer, 2007, he took my three brothers and I out there, and I was like, what? What are we going to do? I have no idea what this sport is. But we stayed there for a week on the Outer Banks, and I fell completely in love and was like, this is awesome. And I had grown up with a board sports background, so coming into kiteboarding, I kind of was a very natural sport for me. I kept in touch with the school, Real Water Sports, for the next couple of years, kiteboarded intermittently with them. We actually took a couple boat trips down to the BVIs. Super lucky, really great experience. And in 2009, when I was a junior in college, they were looking for kite coaches and they reached out to me. I kind of feel like they were talking more to my brothers than to me, but I was like, ooh, sign me up. I would love to come out to the Outer Banks for the summer and coach. And so my older brother and I moved out there in 2009 and coached for that whole season. And that was when I'd always been a water baby, and I went to school in San Diego. I moved down there because I'm from Northern California, but I moved to San Diego. I wanted to be a surfer babe. Mm-hmm. And so I had always loved swimwear, was in the water a lot. But once I moved out to North Carolina, I was in the water every single day because I was coaching. And so my bikini was my uniform. I mean, I wear a t-shirt and board shorts over it, but I have a bikini on every single day, whether that be coaching and then also in the ocean when I was playing or surfing. and then kiting recreationally. So I was in a swimsuit a lot. And the next season, so I went back to school after that season of kiting and coaching, and then went back to school, graduated. And then the second summer I moved out there after I graduated college in 2010, I started percolating on this idea of, wait, this swimwear that I'm wearing is not comfortable. Most of what was on the market at that time was string bikinis. And there were brands that were bringing activewear swimwear to the market, but it was really frumpy and I didn't think it was designed well. And I didn't like the colors. Mm-hmm. So when I was actually thinking about it, I was like, why isn't there something that is really functional and performance-based, but also looks really cool? I was 23 at the time and I wanted to look sexy and flirty in my bikini and feel confident and empowered. And what was on the market for an active woman, what didn't make me feel great. It made me feel like it was just from being older. So I started designing, and I knew that there were other women on the market that wanted that fusion of fashion and function. And I wanted to bring that to light. I've always wanted to do something entrepreneurial, and I started the ball rolling. And for me, once I say I'm going to do something, I have to follow through with it. And so for a while, I didn't even really want to tell anybody, and I was kind of just thinking on it, and then kind of pushed over the edge, and the ball really started picking up steam. And I finally started telling people I want to start a bikini company. And then fast forward 6 years later, and I've done it. So that feels good.
That's so cool. So I know nothing about, this is fashion and it's fabric and it's design and it's bodies and trends. It's just so much. I don't know anything about that world other than what I watch on Project Runway, which obviously is not true world. So take us into when you want to start, you're starting a clothing brand, essentially, a very unique clothing brand. Where did you start? Like, what are the first steps of building something like that?
Brit, that's a great question because I didn't have that background either. I was a communications major in college and had no design background, given I've always loved swimwear, but I didn't know anything about that world. And I was lucky in that while I was coaching in North Carolina, the clientele that we had at Real Water Sports is and was very high end. And so the people that would come out there would be business owners or people from New York that work in finance and just very high caliber customers. And a couple of my students were female entrepreneurs. One woman had started a shoe company. Her name's Terry Peck. And she was actually the one that gave me all of my first design books, helped me kind of map out a business plan. And then another girlfriend, Isabella, who had started a neti pot company, she was also the one that was like, Sensi, you can do this and you should do this. And so between the two of them, they really kind of helped me figure out, okay, what are the first steps I even need to take in getting into fashion or business in general, because I was so green, zero experience. And so to give you a real brief history of it, basically I ordered fabric from New York. I met with a sample maker. I had sketched out my first prototypes, and someone down on the Outer Banks I found that had sewn swimwear, because swimwear is a very obviously particular type of material and not everyone that sews knows how to work with that stretch fabric. And so I had to find someone that was familiar with that fabric and made swimwear. And actually in the beginning, and I found someone that didn't work with that material, but I was so eager to get the product made. I said, yes, go ahead and do it. And the first samples I had made were terrible. You could not even wear them. They were the worst. And learning experiences, don't hire someone that doesn't know how to do a job. But then I found someone else who did a fantastic job and made my first samples and hired someone to shoot them, had a photo shoot, had my friend build my website out, and then launched the product. So fortuitous series of events happened. And also, I think what really enabled me to get it going in the first place is I always asked questions. I was talking to everybody and anybody possible about how to do it. And I kept reaching out to various people in different sectors. And that's how I found my manufacturer, who's based in Portland, through someone that was just open to helping. And really you do find that the people that have gone through it are usually very happy to lend their knowledge and lend what they've learned. And they're happy to help someone that is trying to follow in their footsteps. So really asking questions got me to meet with the factory and try and build out my tech packs. And it was a lot of stumbling and just researching to finally learn and teach myself how to do it.
That's incredible. We have to stop and make the point to say, from the very beginning, it felt very collaborative. And it feels like that stemmed from you. You said it, at first, I wasn't really comfortable in sharing my idea with the world. And then you started sharing it. And as you start sharing, people just happen to show up with a helping hand. And then you continue asking questions and you find more people that can help you along the journey. And I think that could be easily missed, but I have to acknowledge that is a skill. And I have to say, that's a pretty necessary thing to do in business, is be willing to take the help that is readily available to you. Like, it's there and it's waiting for you, and you simply have to ask for it. I love that that's how this started. Now, you got your first bikinis made. You had a friend build the website. Again, so collaborative. I love it. So take us into, how did you get attention on your first line, and how did you earn your first dollar?
Great question. Another great question, Brit. So I actually, it's funny thinking back on all this. I was in Hawaii when I launched the line, because at that time I was kind of traveling around, and my kite career, you got to understand, was just budding at this time as well. And so I was starting to build my name in the kite industry. And really that's what enabled me to get my first bikini sale, because people had kind of knew who I was in kiteboarding. And when I first launched the website, I obviously reached out to my entire network, which mostly was kiteboarders. And they knew that me as a kiteboarder was designing for active women, kiteboarding in particular. And so there was that niche, which really responded to what I had to offer. And so once I actually put the website up, I had emailed everybody and launched it. And I have to admit, I was surprised when I got my first order. I think it was that day that I launched it, I got my first order. And I was like, oh, great. Okay, it's up and it's running and I've got an order in. And that was really exciting. So it was really just the combination of having my name in kiteboarding and serving this niche that enabled me to resonate with my customer and get that first bit of traction.
Oh, that's so perfect. And for the listener that is thinking, well, yeah, that's cool, but I don't have a foothold in the market like Sensi did or something like that. You know what's really funny is that you probably actually do have a foothold somewhere, and you have a network of people like ready and just kind of waiting. They don't know that they're ready. They don't know that they're waiting, but they're there. And you do have a foothold somewhere. So be open to finding where you have a little lever to pull and pull it, right? I really dig that. And then you also said that when you launched it, you said real quickly, and I emailed everybody. So from the very get-go, I mean, you launched it and you were willing to say, hey, this exists. Because sometimes we don't always do that, right? Because it's like our baby and we're a little scared to do that. So did you feel any resistance to saying, hey, yes, I'm a kiteboarder and that's pretty cool, and I've designed these bikinis, want to come look at them? Like, did you feel resistance in that moment to that?
Oh, yeah. I felt a ton of resistance. And actually, even with the name, so the brand's called Sensi Graves Bikinis. And in the beginning, I had just named it Sensi Bikinis. Turns out there's a sandal company. I didn't do my due diligence. There's a sandal company called Sensi. And so I had to end up changing the name about a year and a half, 2 years into Sensi Graves. And that really put myself at the forefront of the company. It turned out to be a really great thing because I've built my kite career and it's gone hand in hand. But at that moment, I really had to face that I was becoming the face of the company and I needed to put myself forward. And you're right, I did feel a lot of resistance around, okay, not everything's perfect. Who am I? I doesn't have a design background. Who am I to say I'm making these badass bikinis and serving this customer? And so I really had to learn how to believe in myself. And I am honestly a very humble person, but sometimes that really doesn't do me any justice. And I've had to learn to not be so humble and really say, you know what, I am making a super awesome product and I am serving a super awesome customer. And I want to really empower these women. And if no one else is doing that, and even if other people are kind of doing something similar, they're not doing it in a way that I am. And I really have something that is serving my customer and doing good in the world. And so realizing that and believing in myself was a bit of a process. Mm-hmm. So yeah, in the beginning, I was nervous about launching. I was nervous about what people were going to think. I was nervous that my product wasn't good enough. And there was a lot that I had to learn and get over the years. But believing in yourself and believing in your product is the number one thing you can do to set yourself up for success down the line.
Amen, sister. I love that. So you launched the thing, you sell a bikini, which was, I think, a happy surprise. And that was how many years ago?
That was in 2012, so six
About
years
6
ago.
years. Okay, cool. So, there's no way we can talk about all 6 years here on the podcast. I really wish that we could, because that is where a lot of the juice is. But give us a rundown of what the big milestones were to get you to now. We're in mid 2018, 6 years after launch. Take us through the evolution of your brand and what has been working to allow it to grow.
So I think, well, in the beginning, the first couple of years, we produced some brand videos and they went semi-viral. We had a couple 100,000 views off of one of them. And that really gave me more belief in myself and gave us more belief in the company, is that we were resonating with our customer and we were showing this inspiring lifestyle and women being active. So that, I would say, is a milestone. We also got picked up by Urban Outfitters. They had started a branch called Without Walls, and that was an activewear line. They own Free People in Anthropology, and so they were building this new store called Without Walls, and we got picked up by them for a couple of years. Unfortunately, their doors ended up shutting. The Without Walls was not successful, but that was huge for us to actually have a nationwide chain that we really thought was doing a good job collaborate with us. That was another huge milestone. And then most recently, we've been featured on Self Magazine in 2007 as best two-piece bikini that stays put. So that was really exciting. Those are obviously just 3 mini touch points, but it really is the daily grind and building the community and building inspirational content and empowering our customers that I think has led us to where we are today.
You've said it a couple of times, and I'd love to understand this better. You've mentioned community and the bigger picture a couple of times of there's more about this company than the bikinis and that they stay put on your body. It feels like there's something bigger that you're about and that the mission is about. Can you tell us about that mission that I think is bigger than bikinis?
Yes, I'd love to. Our big mission is to empower women in water sports. We have 3 core values as a company. 1, empower women in water sports and inspire a healthy lifestyle. 2 is to give back to our planet and create a product that, as Patagonia says, does the least amount of harm. And number 3 is to build an awesome product. The first component of that, which is to inspire a healthy lifestyle and empower our customers, has been huge for me. I grew up with 3 brothers, and my mom was a really amazing skier. She was on the cover of Ski Magazine in 1980. And she always had this mentality of push yourself, get out there, do what you love. And not only did she keep up with the boys, but she oftentimes beat the boys. She would stay out on the mountain way longer than my dad could. And so growing up with my brothers, we were super competitive, and it was never a limiting thought for me that the boys could do something better or different than I could. I was always just right there with them, competing with whatever we were doing. And so I really wanted to bring that to my customers and really get women to get out in nature more and do things that they might think are out of reach. Kiteboarding in particular is still definitely a male-dominated sport, but it has served my life so well and has really given me so much that we really want to bring that to our customers. We really want to show women that they can do whatever they put their minds to. They can snowboard and kite and do all these things that I think now we're showing more and more women doing, but we really want to be at the forefront of, let's show an active woman that is going to inspire a healthy lifestyle, because that's so, so important. And it really, connection with nature and living a healthy, outdoor, active lifestyle has served us and our community so well that we just want to share that and promote that as much as possible.
That's so cool. I mean, that takes the brand to the level that I knew you were taking it. And I just love when a founder can get on and riff about that, because it's always something more. I mean, if it's not something more, they're not usually around for very long. You've taken a company about something presumably surface level and made it so much more. As soon as I got on your website, I'm like, I like this. It's bikinis. I'm not a huge fan of bikinis. Just as many people know, like, bathing suits and stuff, we're women. It's hard sometimes. But I got on your website and I felt all of that. The community, the empowerment, the kind of just the badass attitude of like, go and do your thing, do your sport, be active. And that's it. Like, just do it, girl. Like, it was just so empowering. And I dig that so much. I'm so glad you had a chance to rip about that. So now you've been building this brand for about 6 years. What's happening now and what are you looking forward to in the future for Sensi Graves Bikinis?
Right now, we're building out the 2019 line. Actually, we're just finishing up. So we're shooting that in the studio this week. And then we'll start doing pre-books with retailers. So if any of your listeners have any retailers that they'd like to see us in, shoot me an email. We'll be reaching out to those people. Then actually, this is something I'm really excited about. Later this month, we are launching a collaboration that we did with True, which is an outerwear brand based in Portland. And we're filming a female shred it video. And then we're launching a collaboration. They have a jacket in this print and we have a bikini in this print. It's actually really cool. Their jacket packs up into a fanny pack. I'm really excited about that. So we'll be launching that collaboration in a couple weeks. And then we've got a couple of video projects in the work. Like I said, we really just want to show our customers being active and be really inspirational, but also relatable. And so video is becoming more and more crucial to brands. And so we're starting to try and develop our YouTube page a little bit more. You can only do so much as a small brand, and we really have to be conscious of where our marketing dollars go. So I try and just not bite off too much at one time, but video for us this year is something we're really working on.
Was video something that you took on and you were excited about, or was it daunting at first and you've kind of gotten used to it? How does that work for you?
It definitely is very daunting because you feel like it needs to be very well edited and putting out content. It's really obviously important to have really high quality content. But we've been doing more and more Facebook Lives, and those honestly have a little bit less pressure on them because they don't need, you're not editing them. So it's easy to kind of do it. And in the beginning, it certainly was daunting, but I feel like Facebook Live and Instagram Live are great ways to start, quote unquote, producing video content in a way that's quite easy and is a fresh way for people to get engaged with the brand.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. So winding down here, I would love to know what inspires you and your work.
Rad people doing rad things inspires me. I just watched a documentary recently. Oh, I can't remember what it's called, but it was about this kayaker just going around the world, living his life, doing rad kayak things. And I was just like, that's awesome. He's just doing what he loves. And he was just a really inspiring guy, and that got me all fired up. But also being in nature, I really get inspired. I live in Hood River, Oregon, and it's an absolutely beautiful place. And I go on hikes all the time, and just being outside in nature, I swear, is such a tonic for the soul, a health tonic. And I'm also love adventuring. And so traveling around, I really get fired up with seeing new things and meeting new people and getting that eye-opening experience. So just living life to me is really inspiring.
That's so super cool. All right. One last question we have to end with. Looking back, what advice would you give to yourself when you were first starting your business? That girl on her couch, hunched over her MacBook, trying to figure all of this out. What would you say to her?
I would say believe in yourself. And we touched on that a little bit. Like I said in the beginning, I didn't believe in myself or my product as much as I don't want to say should, because I don't love the word should, but as much as I could have. And yeah, just believe in yourself, believe in what you're doing. And it can be applicable to everybody. If you have an idea and you're going to execute it, just give yourself a lot of self-love, a lot of self-love, a lot of belief, and you'll go places. You'll go really far.
Yes. All right. Brilliant advice. I'm so glad you said that. All right. So before we go, could you please tell the listeners where they can find you online?
Yes, please go follow us at Sensi Bikinis, SensiBikinis, and at Sensi Graves on Instagram. Our website is www.sensigravesbikinis.com or sensibikinis.com. And then on Facebook, Sensi Bikinis there as well.
Perfect. Go check them out. Like I said, as soon as I get on our website, and you guys know, I mean, if you've been listening, been around me at all, not the biggest fan of bathing suits, like never really have been. Clicked over to the website. I'm like, oh man, bikinis, here we go. And I was like, oh, wait a second. This is totally different. This is a different experience. And it felt really good. So go check out what Sensi's got going on. I'm definitely digging the vibe. So you heard her, girls. Go check her out, send her some love, and then hop into our private Facebook group to hear even more from Sensi over the next few days. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. Keep the conversation going by visiting marketinginyogapants.com/Facebook, where you'll get to join that private Facebook group I've been talking so much about. There, you'll get to chat with our podcast guests, yeah, they're in there too, and all of the other brilliant creative business owners. We're connecting, we're meeting our soul sisters, and we're building our businesses, all while in yoga pants. So come hang out with us. Again, visit marketinginyogapants.com/Facebook to get in. And one more thing. If you dig this podcast, would you be awesome and share it with someone? This entire Marketing in Yoga Pants movement is nothing without its community. So please share. And if you're really feeling the love right now, jump into iTunes. You're probably already there if you're listening to this right now. And leave us a rating and review. The more of those we rack up, the more the podcast will be found by ladies like you, and the stronger this community becomes. This episode was edited and produced by the Podcast Engineers. They're pretty great, so go find them at podcastengineers.com. This episode was also brought to you by my online marketing agency, Jam Marketing Group, and you can find us at jammarketinggroup.co. That's all for now. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you back here next week on the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. Love ya. Bye.